Before we begin, thank you very much to Ellis for joining my Patreon campaign over at patreon.com/TJOmega. All of the help keeps the channel going, keeps it alive, keeps the videos coming, and I thank you guys very much. I also thank you for putting up with like so many TJabletops in a row, even though nobody watched. I appreciate it. Just let me get away. I promise I was doing stuff while I was getting away that is going to come back and make some interesting things for this channel, like this video. Welcome to the Great East Coast Toy Hunt, or Great East Florida Coast Toy Hunt. You know, it's not the most like salient name I've ever come up with, but you know what? This is what it was. I had some time off for a change, so I went down to the east coast of Florida to visit some of my favorite shops and a few that I've never gotten to see before. So I was starting from the north, working my way south, took a few days, basically just made one big personal road trip of it, had a blast, and thought I'd show you what I found. So let me throw to remote TJ to give you a little bit of an introduction about some of the stores we visited. I'm in Melbourne, where we have Famous Faces and Funnies and a couple other stores inside with completely different names. It's a little bit of an odd place. Now, for this trip, we're not going to be taking the camera inside because privacy, etc. and all that. Take plenty of photos and we'll show you what we came out with. So come on, we're gonna go. This toy shop actually shares space with a gaming store called Get Your Fun On, and they've got a pretty good selection of, D&D supplies, collector's board games, TCGs, of course, and a lot of fun stuff that I would normally be really interested in, but this was a toy excursion. And that meant Famous Faces and Funnies was a really, really nice stop. Aside from just a ton of comic books and high-end statues, tons of toys everywhere. It basically looks like a warehouse that they put some like wire shelves up in the middle of, along with all their long boxes of comics and whatnot. A lot of loose figures, a lot of packaged figures, lots of Funko Pops, and just tons of just random stuff. Like this one is like one of the more unfocused, but that also makes it really interesting to comb through because what you find is a little bit of a surprise. Now, to be fair, when I went and shopped here, I was buying more for other people and gifts and such rather than buy for myself, so I didn't walk out with too much. Truth be told, I went there because they had a Collectors Club Rampage that I skipped the last time I was there months ago, and I just on the hope that it would be there, went back. Nope, that one was gone. Got some interesting stuff, though. I did rescue a Mega Man that I was missing. That's from like a little retro gaming collection that Funko did. It's a nice little cute Mega Man that I didn't have in the collection. And also because, once again, I like to troll myself, I found a on-card Beast Machine's Optimus Primal. Ghosts of Plastic Addict's future here, or at least I hope it will be anyway. While I was in Melbourne, I also took a stab at a few antique shops because once in a while you can find a few people with some random Transformer things lying around here and there. Most of them you strike out, that's just the thing. But I went to a place called America's Antique Mall and ended up with this, of all things, an Ant-Man from Avengers United They Stand, which actually is one of the Marvel shapeshifters from Toy Biz, which means it transforms into a terrible ant mode, and that should be hilarious for something down the line. Also, completely random, VR Trooper cards. I mean, collector cards were a big thing in the 90s, so I guess, yeah, why not? VR Troopers had cards. I have no idea what's inside them. Stop number 2, Past, Present, Future Comics. I've been to the one down south toward Fort Lauderdale. This is their northern location. Never been in. No idea what to expect. I was actually genuinely surprised. It is a very, very nice shop with a great mix of new and retro stuff. Nothing loose, all in package, outside like statues, of course. Not like tons of comic books, of course, and interesting layout to the store. I wish I had like a way of conveying that without, since I couldn't like film in the inside. But fun place to just walk around and see what they had, and some of the most random stuff I came across was actually in this shop. and some of the stuff I was most excited to find. So there was one toy in particular that I had seen on Past Present Future's Facebook page that I really was hoping was still there, but it was years old, so what are the odds? And it was in their south location, not their north store. However, it was there. And it is this Air Attack Batman. I played with this thing to death as a kid. This was my Batman toy. So to reclaim it still in the package and everything is pretty special. Don't even know if I'm going to open it or not, because it is that interesting of a find to me. It is partially gold plastic, so I might have to double check to see if it has break issues, but you know what? That's a piece of my childhood right there. Also, because they had it, and I think I skipped this model kit. I hope I skipped it. We got another Mega Man. This one is the armor from X4, the Force armor. I got the X3 armor, and they were doing X2. They announced the X2 armor as a kit. So I figured, hey, might as well go for all four, since I have the figure art of the original. More Mega Man. You'll find it's a recurring theme in this trip. Now we are at Tate's, but it is not one that I am familiar with. This one is in Boynton Beach, and again, not a clue what to expect, but the first Tate's is great, so I'm sure this one will be good too. I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed in Boynton Beach's version of Tate's. I do know it is a secondary store. It is mostly a place just to pick up your new comic book pulls for the week. There's back issues, there's some statues, and there's a little bit in there to remind you and give you the flavor of Tate's itself. Unfortunately, it's just not anywhere close to the majesty of the proper Lauderhill location. That said, I did promise myself I'd walk out of every store with a little bit of something, because part of this was I do want to support all the different local shops that I run across. So I did find a trade paperback for Mega Man Fully Charged, its 6-issue comic series. Terrible cartoon. Terrible toy line. Comic book is actually pretty good, surprisingly so. So this, best thing that came out of that failure of a reboot. Next up, we are in Fort Lauderdale for Bits and Buttons. Every time I look at this shop online, it looks more and more like my own shop. So of everything on this trip, this is the one I want to see the most. I never expected this place to be so good. This reminds me of my shop if it was like the way I want my shop to be right now. Just tall racks all over with tons of retro toys. And if they aren't the vintage, it's the modern equivalent. And so much vintage stuff. Like from Mask to Care Bears to Sectars. I saw Silverhawk there. Like, there's so many things. And like the retro Ninja Turtles and all these different, of course, Transformers, even GoBots. So many things. Like, I feel like I could walk in that store for an hour and still feel like I hadn't seen everything. And just when I thought that was an incredible selection, there's another section in the back for all of their Funko Pops, wrestling figures, and a ton more. Like, for such a small store, it has so much going for it. Like, genuinely enjoyable place I definitely want to go back to again someday. This, I think, is where I spent the most money. So I picked up a Transmetal 2 Scareem, a toy that I was always curious about as a kid, but never got around to picking up. Don't know if I'll open it or not, or if it might join my Boxed Beast Wars collection that hangs on over my computer right now, actually. But yeah, I'm thinking about that one. But I think the gem of the entire thing, the entire trip, was made by finding this beauty. This is a toy I have wanted most of my life. So this is the Switchblade from Mask, and it's got some repair work to do. There is a clip here that's supposed to hold the blades in when it changes modes, and the cockpit does tend to come off its hinge. That can be tightened up. But yeah, the figure is inside with the mask and everything. All of the spring gimmicks still seem to work. I can actually, successfully transform it down into its, here, check this out. Check it out. So, helicopter, see, now if it worked, that would click in. And then we flip the tail rotor over. Hang on, hang on. And out flip the wings. Should also make those flip out. And then we got the guns that shoot out. We got guns here. We got extra guns here. There we go. Into a full supersonic jet mode. The missile's still there even. The drop missile's still in there. So a couple things to fix, but once those are done, this is, and maybe some stickers if I can find them. And this is one of my childhood holy grails finally achieved. So, timing mishap. We were going to make Tate's the final stop. Unfortunately, they close a little bit early on Sundays. Fortunately, this area is no shortage of toy shops, where the other past, present, and future in Davie, Florida, haven't been here in years. So let's see what my last minute replacement is going to be about. It's been years since I was at Past, Present, Future's Davie location, and I remember it being better than it was. Last time I visited there, they seem to be a little bit denser with the toys, and they seem to have a lot more retro stuff. I get the feeling that a lot of the old school toys and vintage stuff ended up in their North store, while this store kept doing a lot more modern stuff. Also, prices admittedly are not great here. I found like even their store in West Palm seemed to have better prices than the store in Davie. Really weird. I don't know if it's just a difference in market and what, they can get away with in different locations, but really a little bit of a letdown. Cool place, but one for watching your budget. Though watching my budget is not what I did. I saved up a long time to make this trip and to do reckless things on this trip. And it doesn't get much more reckless than getting the Machinedramon model in person. Spectacular design. I've always loved Machinedramon's look. Really excited to put this one together. Only grabbed it there because it was only like 20 bucks more than what it goes for on Amazon. So that's my advice to you. If you go searching there, double check prices online before you grab anything. All right, because I can't help myself, one more day on my vacation to make a side trip over to Tate's in Sunrise, Florida. This is my go-to place, and like the first time I've never taken anyone here. This is the first time I've been here by myself, so me unsupervised at one of my favorite toy shops. Yeah, actually there's two toy shops. There's a gaming satellite too, but we're gonna focus on the actual toy store. Ah, the motherland. Tate's is the store I want my store to be when it grows up. Absolutely massive. With the gaming satellite included, they take up 6 or 7 spots in the strip mall. It's absolutely amazing. I've been to anime conventions with much smaller dealer rooms than this one store, and it just never ends. I can literally walk around this place for hours and still find new things I didn't notice the first 2 or 3 times I passed by a display. They've always got something I want, and it's very easy for me to not only get lost in the store, but also to spend way more than I should. I try to keep it conservative this time, but there's still just so much I would love to have if I could just go completely insane. And I probably would have if I hadn't run across so many good stores and unexpected surprises to this point. But yeah, Tate's, absolutely phenomenal shop. If you're in Lauderhill, in Southeast Florida in general, make the time to go. Now for me, one of my traditions with going to Tate's is I want to rescue a G1 Transformer because they've always got a bunch of them in the display. Not a whole lot that I wanted this time, however, to keep that tradition alive, I did pick up a Throttlebot Goldbug, which they incorrectly listed. The little note said it was not, the pullback motor still works, which it does, but it mentioned that it does not transform. And I think they mistook it because they had Runabout and Runamuck. So I think they mistook it for the same gimmick, not realizing that Throttlebots don't do that. They are just about the pullback motor. You have to manually transform these, and hey, as you can see, Goldbug transforms just fine. So he goes in the shelf. The one I was really hoping for was one I saw there just a few weeks ago. I went with my D&D crew out to Fort Lauderdale and hit a bunch of shops, including Tate's. And the one that I wished I had grabbed was still there. And that is Slimestone, another for my Rock Lord obsession. And not only is this Slimestone in nice condition, a little bit of chrome wear on, here and there, but still for the most part good, and all the joints are still really nice on him. But look, still had the card, still had the little instructional, or the little, oh god, sorry, the little mini comic. The little mini comic is still there, and it's in great condition. The instruction sheet is there. The gun is there. The gun, however, is in the dreaded gold plastic, so it is broken. I'll glue it together a little bit, but now we're gonna have to be like super careful with it for the rest of eternity. And because it is the theme of the trip, I also walked out with Mega Man. This is the U2's Mega Man, which I kept looking at online when it was available, kept passing on it, eventually sold out. So when I saw it in person and they weren't really overcharging for it, okay, fine. Okay, you know what? Fine. It's another Mega Man I didn't have. So the Mega Man collection continues to grow. And I thought that was going to be the end of the trip, but 5 minutes up the road in Tamarack, there was an anime shop called Siren Anime Store. A shop that just popped up in response to the fact they couldn't travel around anymore because of the pandemic. Only to find out that by the time the store got opened, cons were opening up again, and they didn't really have to open a store after all. But I'm glad they did, because it's a wonderful store. I really did expect it to be a hole-in-the-wall nothing, because I've been to those. Everything's a knockoff. Everything is, overpriced considering it's bootleg, and just run down in general. No, this is a very nice store with a whole bunch of really good stuff and really genuine stuff. And one of the things I found that I absolutely love, where I found, let's see, where was it? Let me see, which one do I show off? So they had these remint Pokemon items, which are all these different artsy styles, and this is a Starium. Now, I got a couple of these at MetroCon, got the exact two I wanted, never have had that kind of luck with blind boxes ever, so let's see if it strikes again, because I don't have any from this series. And they had a pile of them too, so I wanted to try all the different styles. There's a gemstone style, and let's see, there is the Terrariums. The Terrariums, I think, were the first ones, because I think they've got the most of them, and those look fantastic. They've got these little aquarium styles, where all the aquariums kind of fit together to make an underwater scene, which I think is super clever. They've got a lot that are interconnected like this. There's a log that goes up. There's a few logs, like trees that go up, and the branches and the nooks inside the tree have different Pokemon hanging out in them. Very, very clever concept. They've got logs on the ground that you can connect together to make a longer log with more different Pokemon on it. And then we have a Pokemon Bonsai. So I'm really looking forward, because I didn't want to risk a duplicate, so I just grabbed all the ones that seemed to have the nicest ones and the ones that I thought would have the least chance of one that I would not want. So those will be fun to make a video opening out of. But that was my trip to the east coast of Florida, and the ton of stores out there if you're willing to make the drive. I love getting to go around and explore all these little shops around, and of course some big shops too. And you never know what you're going to find. And then that is the beauty of it. Is every store has its own flavor. Every store has its own goal and its own identity. And I think that's a wonderful thing. And it's a lot of fun to go through and find out what that identity is. There's a few of those shops I cannot wait to go back to, and there's even more that I didn't get to visit on this trip. So hopefully this isn't the last time I do this. Hopefully I'll get to do it again soon. But for now, I've spent enough money. So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully some of this will make it to the channel at some point in the near future. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.